Hi, my name is Emily and I'm a faithful follower of Christ, and I would like to answer Sonia's questions. Sonia, great questions. Sonia left me a few questions, a little paragraph of a comment up underneath my photo food diary that I put out yesterday on Thursday, January 27th. I also put out a video where I talked about getting rid of my food scales and anything else that I had been associating with the program that I had been following, so as to move forward, having gleaned all sorts of knowledge from it, knowledge and information, excellent stuff that I'm grateful for, and then moving forward with God. So Sonia, to answer your question, Sonia asked me, so she said, so you're doing no sugar, no flour. And then she said, but are you doing like the one plate rule or no rules? Are you following regular meal times? Great questions. I.E.P. When I taught special education, every child on my caseload, I wrote an I.E.P. for them, an Individualized Education Plan. These were documents that were somewhere between 55 and 75 pages long. To say special education comes with a lot of paperwork would be an understatement. It was a lot of paperwork, and every child had a team of people that contributed to the paperwork, and it was obviously legalities and things that I took it all very, very seriously. Some teachers didn't. I really stressed over following the state standards for, let's say, a typical 8th grade kid. This child, where they actually were every day, and their mentality and their home life, and then what their IEP said. And depending on where I was working, it could be very stressful to find a way to make those 3 circles, to make a Venn diagram out of that where they overlapped, and we could have that all come together to meet this child's needs. But the point was, this document was it was a structure for this kid to have in place what they were entitled to, and it was how we made sure to meet their needs, like I said, legally. So here lately, I realized that as there is, we're all so different. Our needs are so different. When I taught special education, I realized every child on the planet has special needs. Every human being on the planet has special needs. And we are all a culmination. Our experience every day is a culmination of all of our experiences, which is why it's so entirely unique to each one of us. We all have different emotional struggles, physical struggles, mental struggles. We are one body in Christ, and the body is made up of so many individuals, and each one of us have such special, unique needs to meet, because no two of us have all the same experiences or process life and stimuli exactly the same way, because we are all on the inside of these bodies looking out and have had totally unique experiences. So while one thing might be an issue for one person, it might not be at all for another person. IEP. God has written my individual eating plan. For me, that includes do's and don'ts, yeses and no's, focuses, and things God wants me to lose sight of. When I taught special education, we were taught to starve and feed behaviors. So the behaviors that you want to see more of, focus on those and reinforce those. The ones you don't, for the most part, ignore them. Every once in a while, you have to address them and actually reach in. Imagine a garden. I've talked about this in videos before, but if you imagine our behaviors are a garden, the ones that we water, the ones that we look at, the ones that we nurture, the ones that we focus on, the ones that we tend to are the ones that will grow. a lot of behaviors, we can just starve them out. We can plant flowers, and then they will actually start to choke out the weeds because the weeds won't get what they need anymore. They won't have their needs met. And they will begin to be displaced and disappear. I have noticed before, if we have a garden, we can't just pull weeds. We have to also plant flowers, or else you'll just have a big patch of dirt. So as we are increasing and planting behavioral flowers in our gardens, we can, for the most part, get away with just starving some behaviors, just not focusing on them. Every once in a while, you do need to actively, with strategy, reach in and grab a weed and pluck it out, to get it out of the garden, out of the picture. So, like I said in my video that I put out yesterday where I talked about getting rid of my scale, I have learned so much over the years about not only nutrition, but behavior. And I read a book that changed our lives, baby-wise, years ago. My husband has said we might not have 5 kids if it weren't for that book. And the baby-wise effect is that with your newborn baby, you meet their needs before they beg you to. You are giving them a bottle before they're screaming and crying because they're hungry. They don't learn that they have to cry for everything because their needs are met proactively, preemptively. So I want to have that baby-wise effect with myself also. And I want to, people say, wow, you drink a gallon of water a day. I could never drink that much. I'm not thirsty. And I say, I haven't been thirsty for 15 years. I drink so much water, I don't get thirsty. My body, by the time you're thirsty, you've been dehydrated for a long time. So I meet my needs before my body has to scream for them. And I want to do that with my eating as well. So Sonia, to answer your question, my IEP, my individualized eating plan is this. Do focus on daily disciplines, including BBBB, bed and Bible before breakfast. Does that happen every single day? No, it doesn't. I've already had part of my breakfast and there's my unmade bed. Perfect example. And notice I said part of my breakfast. Here's my do's, my focuses. BBBB, CCF, I want to work on the countertops, the clutter, and the floor every day. MPFD, I'm going to take pictures of every single thing I eat. That's my photo food diary. That's for me. That's part of my individual eating plan. God is my special ed teacher. He meets my needs. He's my personal trainer. He is my everything. Okay, so also, I've got 2 more focuses. A load of laundry a day and a gallon of water every day. These are things I want to focus on. These are things that I want built into the structure of my life. But arguably, during the school year, there's only 4 days a week that look anything alike. The other days, Friday's a little different, Saturday's different, Sunday's different. We don't have an exact routine every day. So the way I fuel my body is going to change a bit every day, which makes sense. I don't arbitrarily fill the tank in my car every Tuesday and Thursday, whether it needs it or not. I fuel my vehicle as it needs it. And this is the vehicle that I'm in, and I want to fuel it properly. There are days I need more fuel than others. There are days that I can tell my body is wanting more vitamins and minerals than other. And there's days that my body's wanting maybe a lot of fat. I notice that on days where it's really, really cold outside, I just want some more dense calories. There's days where I'm just kind of hungry. So I want bulk. So like I'll grab a big bunch of celery and take it with me when I go to pick the kids up, just something to munch on for a long time. So if food is fuel and each day is a little different for me, then my fuel is going to look a little different every day. That makes perfect sense if you compare it to a vehicle, right? Having said that, I also want to meet my needs, like I said, the baby-wise effect, and meet my needs before my body has to cry for them. So I am motivated to have some just consistency and steadiness within my diet. And I could sort of imagine that it would make sense to me that breakfast would be about 9 o'clock, lunch would be about 1 o'clock, and dinner would be about 6 o'clock. But this morning I was making pizzas for my kids. I made one for myself with Ezekiel bread and mozzarella cheese and spaghetti sauce and pepperonis and black and green olives. I ate that at about 6:45. That was half my breakfast. Here, when I get off of here, I'm going to go have a fruit. So that's my breakfast that was split up. The other night, I had a salad with my husband at about 10:15 p.m. So there's really no 2 days alike, but sort of a baseline that I feel comfortable going from is 3 meals a day, typically an afternoon snack. And the meals are a combination of only nutrition, macro and micro. So all I'm eating is macronutrients and micronutrients. For the most part, I might have something like ketchup. I had ketchup on a double cheeseburger I ate yesterday, with no bun, and the patties were maybe the size of a little tiny Girl Scout cookie. You'll see. There was ketchup on that. Ketchup's not ideal. I'm not worried about it. So, macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Micronutrients are vitamins and minerals, and I make sure I get those every single day. Here's kind of a little red flag for me. If I hear myself saying, I just want a little something, when I hear myself think the word something, I say, nope, you're getting nothing. Because if my body doesn't know any better than to know that it's wanting a fat, or it's wanting a carbohydrate, or it's wanting a grain, or it's wanting a fruit, if it's wanting the vitamins, or what am I hungry for? What is my body needing in this moment? And does it need water to begin with? Maybe I just need to get going on that second half gallon. If I hear myself in the evening walking around the kitchen thinking, I just want a little something, no brain, no. If I'm just wanting a little something, but I don't know what it is, I leave the kitchen. I get nothing, because that's more to do with, I'm just wanting the pleasure center in my brain to light up. I'm just wanting to chew and swallow. I'm just wanting to taste something. My body's not actually asking for a macronutrient, a protein, a carbohydrate, or a fat, or a micronutrient, a vitamin or mineral. So I am not doing the 1 plate rule. I am feeding myself. I am eating for energy and feeding for fuel. And I'm trusting the Holy Spirit to help me start and stop. There are times that I think, I could really go for no brain, no. We're not going to eat for the fun of it. We're not going to eat for solely the enjoyment of it. But I would like to tell you that I've been experiencing something lately now that I am embarking on this new journey, and it's worth sharing. I have been the utility, the how satiating, the enjoyment, the satisfaction of the foods I've been eating has been through the roof. Like what I'll show you on my photo food diary next week, the pizza that I just now ate, Ezekiel bread, mozzarella cheese, pepperonis, like I said, spaghetti sauce, and olives. It was so delicious. God knows, literally, He knows that I love pizzas with pepperonis and olives, green olives. And these breakfasts that I've been having lately with the eggs and the avocados. Now, it was perfect for me to weigh and measure food for a long time. I was getting enough of what I needed and none of what I didn't. So it really helped recalibrate. I think it was absolutely beneficial and worthwhile, and got me unhooked from stuff I was hooked on. But the ratio, the macro and micronutrient ratios weren't what they are now. So now I might have a piece of Ezekiel bread with a little peanut butter and 9 little bananas all lined up. Whereas before I would have had a piece of Ezekiel bread, tons of peanut butter, and then tons of banana, so many that it was like spilling over. Now it's like God's allowing me to enjoy food in a way I never have. It's just so, I'm telling you, it's worth sharing. It's almost bizarrely, I'm like eating meals now. Like this is the best. I think there's been a lot of healing taking place with my, just on a cellular level, on my brain chemistry, the pleasure centers in my brain. There's just been healing taking place. The nature of addiction is insatiability-ness. Where you're never satisfied. It's never enough. In fact, the more you eat it, the less you enjoy it, until finally all the stuff you're chewing and swallowing is you're not even experiencing it. There's nothing to experience. You don't taste it. You don't hardly see it. You don't feel it. It's cardboard in your mouth. I am enjoying food lately, and I'm enjoying this newfound freedom, and I don't want to abuse it. So, Sonia, you asked me if I'm doing the 1 plate rule. You guys are literally seeing every single calorie I eat. So I don't think of it as a 1 plate rule. That's a great question, but that's not at all what I'm thinking. I haven't thought 1 plate rule since I tried that at Thanksgiving, and I gathered some data. I gathered all sorts of stuff on my 1 plate. Okay. What I'm doing is taking a picture. I make a beautiful little plate. I make, let's say I'm making dinner for myself and my son. I'll make his a little smaller than mine. I sort of have like these little mama portions, daddy portions, kid portions, teenager portions, kindergarten portion, and my little mama bear portion. I just look at it, and knowing that I'm going to take a picture, that helps me have more eyes on it, so that my brain's not like, that's not enough, I need a little more. Even the butter that I put in the skillet for my eggs, you all see it. I don't weigh it, I don't measure it, I show it. And that's for me as effective as weighing it and measuring it, showing it. So I make up my little plate, and then I could have more. I'm not telling myself I can't have more, but I'm allowing the Holy Spirit to help me decide, do I want more? Or does my spirit want more? Does my flesh want more? Am I letting my wanter get away from me? My husband's grandfather used to say, you can have whatever you want, just don't let your wanter get away from you. Is my wanter getting away from me here? Because that was probably enough, especially since, like I tell my kids, go ahead and have the chicken and the biscuit, but then later have something fresh, okay? So like yesterday I had a little double cheeseburger and a cup of chili while I was at a diner. Imagine that. Sat there by myself at this sweet, tiny little diner that I have always heard people rave about. It was right after I went down to the Salvation Army, and I was going to take, if somebody wanted to, I was going to take somebody out to lunch, but that's not it's not how it worked out. I met with Bruce. That's on that video. But I left there and went to a jewelry store, just wandered around and looked at some stuff. And then I went to a little diner that is sort of like well known around here. And I'd never been there because I've either ever been, I don't know. I just thought, there's nothing for me in there. Yes, there was. There was 2 little beef patties and a piece of cheese and some chili. When I left there, I went home, and it was probably an hour later, went and got a bowl of carrots and an apple, because I wanted to round out that meal with the vitamins and the minerals, and not just have the meal be protein and fat. So I'm not following a 1 plate rule. I am filling my plate and then earnestly discerning. Not even so much deciding, but discerning. Is this enough? Was that the right amount of this? And God tells me, yes, that was it. That was perfect for that. And then later you can have some pineapple, or you can have your decaf coffee, like something else. We'll just change the subject and switch gears, and I'll give my body a different nutrient. Instead of more of the same thing at every meal. Gluttony, that the definition is not only excessive eating, but habitual greed. I have a video called This is the Disease of Greed, where we just want more, more, more. And knowing that I'm going to string it together on a video helps me stop because I don't want to show you all. I want to show you a beautiful little meal of something that I made. And I will show you, last night I had something called shepherd's pie. So ground beef, green beans, and mashed potatoes for dinner. You'll see my plate, but then I also zoomed out and showed you that I was sitting right next to Mary, and you can see her little plate. So I'm now eating with my family, which is wonderful. And I'm eating basically a lot of times what they're eating, which is, it's wonderful and it's new. My I.E.P, my individualized eating plan that's just for me, includes those 5 focuses every day: bed and Bible before breakfast, countertops, clutter, and floor, my photo food diary, 1 gallon of water, and a complete load of laundry. I don't have to throw dishes in there because they're going to have to happen if we're going to eat here, and we are. It also includes 11 no's. So those are my do's. These are my don'ts. God's telling me don't. Me. This is just for me. He's telling me do not eat sugar, flour, caffeine. Do not binge. Go to restaurants to cope. Don't go to restaurants to cope with your life. Connect if you want. Connect with your family and have fun with them, but don't go to restaurants to cope. And stop dieting. You've learned enough. You've gathered all the data. You have the final piece to this entire puzzle, which was a huge... If the whole puzzle was like, I don't know, some picture of a landscape, a field of flowers, this final piece that I put in that puzzle was just golden. It was just the cherry on top of a 25-year education of what I very naively thought I was learning. I very naively thought this education was all about how to lose weight. But it was so much more about how to fuel my body. Not just what not to give it, but what to give it, and how and when. So the 11 don'ts: no sugar, flour, caffeine, using restaurants to cope, binging, dieting in day ones, no worry, no shame, no guilt, no doubt, and no fear. And just like any good I.E.P, my I.E.P is subject to change. It's for me now. It'll be revised and edited as my needs change, as I grow and change and evolve into an older, this is all earthly stuff, but an older woman with different hormonal issues and different workload on me, a different physical demands. So my I.E.P is subject to change. It will be revised and edited. It's written by my great doctor, God. But it's also, I also have a team of people. So I have Team Emily. I have a team of people, including my husband, my children, and so many of you all. And my I.E.P is just that. It's mine, and it while it has some black and white on there, right? It has do's, it has don'ts. It has a framework of maybe what a typical day would look like. But the funny thing is, it's more for me and my life and my lifestyle, more like, we'll call it an average. And not an average day, but if you took all 7 of the days throughout the week and averaged them together, then my eating might land somewhere between 9, 1, and 6. So I don't have necessarily any regular eating times any more than I have regular activities. And I think the two should correlate. So I want to fuel my body appropriately And that's going to change. Honestly, though, for me, that's a little different every day. One reason that bed is not made, I was up at 4:30 with my husband this morning, getting him going to Indiana. He left this morning to drive to Indiana to load cattle. So my sleep was disrupted, and if I can, I'm going to catch a little nap before I go pick up kids and poodles. Today's an early day for them. So there's so much flexibility. But I follow my do's and I follow my don'ts, and I keep what God wants me focused on in focus, which is Him. And like a friend of mine says, every day we do our best, and every day our best looks a little different. So, Sonia, there's my answer to your lovely questions. No sugar, no flour, not necessarily regular eating times, not necessarily a one-plate rule, but since I've been doing this since January 6th, there's been one time that it was worth it for me. I did decide to go ahead and have more, and I showed you all. You saw my plate, and then you saw another a little more. So, this is the end of an era, but it's also the beginning of a new chapter. It feels very much like when you become accustomed to going to school, but then you realize, I'm not called to be a student my whole life. All this schooling is to prepare me for something. It's to prepare me for work. I have experienced many ends of eras. Susan Miller once said, Emily, she said, listening to you, one thing I've come to expect the unexpected. Susan, I have too. I have known God to absolutely send me running in one direction. Almost, it's as if He is just seeing if I'm willing to run. And I have at times. I have just taken off full steam in one direction, and then He's like, okay, all right, now let's turn. And I think that's all part of this training that we're in. Being obedient to Him, going where He tells us to go, moving at the pace He tells us to move at. So, Susan, if you're listening to me and you say I've come to expect the unexpected, me and you both, girl, that makes two of us. So I have experienced many ends of eras. But one thing I have never experienced the end of is God's love for me. He doesn't leave us. He doesn't forsake us. He says, I will be with you always to the very end of the age. And He has absolutely been with me. That's truly my testimony. He has been with me in the valley of the shadow of death. He's been with me in the darkness. I could go on and on about stories about experiences I've had in the depth of darkness and despair. I've experienced severe depression. I have experienced full-blown mania twice. I was thinking yesterday, years ago, I realized depression is really the inability to process stimuli. Mania is really the inability to filter stimuli. Both times I was aware that my brain was no longer functioning, and that was terrifying for me. Not both times, but both experiences. And God was with me. He's just been with me all along. So while this is the end of an era, and I will tell you that I have, you can imagine, please take a moment and imagine with me how difficult it's been for me to let go of weighing and measuring, to let go of calorie counting, to let go of every thing I was clinging to that at least gave me a very false sense of control. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said that she's not going to set this weight goal anymore. She's just going to focus on her behaviors because she doesn't get to control whether or not her body loses weight. She gets to control what she does, what her behaviors are. And I just thought that was brilliant. So it has been a challenge for me to let go. And I will tell you, I have over the past 2 years, I would say preferred, not much preferred, to weigh and measure food than I don't miss counting calories or calculating points. That was kind of fun for a while because I am a nerdy number cruncher. But it's been nice just weighing and measuring food. And now it's really nice making up a pretty little plate and then taking a picture, and that's my stopping point. Like I said, God helps me start and stop. And I'm 1 Thessalonians 5:17, I'm praying without ceasing. I'm asking God to help me throughout the day, make the decisions that I make with regards to what I'm eating. And my husband and I it was interesting. He said, Emily, we were talking about boundaries. We were talking about how I really have a hard time knowing when I'm full because I love eating. I love sitting there chewing and chewing and chewing. My husband said once, we know that cows are happy when they're chewing on their cud, just back and forth, back and forth. They're just out there chewing and chewing and chewing and chewing and regurgitating. What do they have, 4 stomachs? I don't even know. But they chew all that grass. They just chew and they chew and they chew. And my husband said, look, when they're chewing out there, they're happy. And I said, oh, that's just like me. If I'm chewing, I'm happy. When I'm eating, the pleasure centers in my brain are lit up. I can just sit there and chew and chew and chew. I have a hard time finding a stopping point as far as feeling full. But I also want God to help me with my starting point. So I want to make sure that it's true, genuine hunger and not, I just want a little something. I have a mantra that I like to follow. Want it first, not see it first. So if I'm opening the refrigerator to make the kids a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I don't want to go, oh, I see that block of cheese sitting there. I think I'll have some. No, I wasn't wanting cheese. I just saw it. We weren't wanting cookies until we walked past them in the office. We weren't wanting pizza until we smelled it because that kid next door has some, I don't know, that'd be some strong pizza if you're smelling it from next door. Want it first, not see it first. God is helping me start and stop, and I'm giving him all the credit. And this My Photo Food Diary is my... I've gone from calorie counting to calculating points to weighing and measuring to taking pictures. So here we are. And this is all on my I.E.P. My individual eating plan, my do's, my 5 do's and my 11 don'ts, my team of people, and a whole lot of grace. By the grace of God, I'm going to keep going. Let's keep going, shall we? I love you dearly. Let's talk again soon. Bye.